Hi everyone, I'm so happy that you're here to join me for the Way of the Animal podcast. So today's podcast, we decided to talk about kickboxing, and I've got Alastair with me, and that's because it's something that we've both started doing this year. We're speaking with my family on a video call there today, and I think my nephew had said he'd seen 2 deer, and I said, "Oh, we saw 2 bears on the way to kickboxing class," and my brother-in-law said, "Wow, I bet that's something you never thought you'd say is, on your way to kickboxing class, you'd see 2 bears." And I'd actually said that to you in the truck on the way. It was like, that is 2 things I never thought I'd ever say is, on my way to kickboxing class, because I never thought I would be doing kickboxing class, we saw 2 bears, and, that's because they're in Canada. So anyway, yeah, how I got there was very funny, because my friend messaged me. She said, "Hey, I'm going to join kickboxing class. Do you want to come and join me?" And honestly, I couldn't think of a reason not to, so I went.
I couldn't think of a good excuse, so I was like, damn it, I'm going to have to go.
Basically, because...
Although I did say to you that you should, because it would be good.
Yeah, and it's not something... I'm a lover, not a fighter. It's like not something that I ever expected to get into, or was interested in. But I started in February, and it's now, well, it'll be September when this podcast comes out. I'm now doing it. I went from once a week, and I do it twice a week, and I love it.
That's fantastic.
Yep.
And it's interesting because, I can imagine, 20, 15, 16, whatever age you go back to you. Do you want to do kickboxing? No. Whereas... Well,
even when she said, "Do you want to come?" I was like, oh, I can't think of a reason to say no. I'm going to have to give it a try. It was like a trial one.
Yeah. But it's... I come from the other side. Growing up, I always wanted to go to some form of martial arts class. I liked action movies. I liked martial arts movies. Watching it on the TV, it's like, that looks fun. But then I liked the spiritual side of it. And I was aware of the discipline and the way it can affect your life. And my life when I was young was very, I don't want to use the word traumatic, but there was a lot of turmoil. Yeah. Messy is good. And I think I was attracted to that structure and that idea, but I never ever got the chance. And then nearly 40, and you started going to kickboxing. And I was like, I want to do that.
I can just remember, I want to go. I was like, well, you can.
I was really jealous when you started. I was like, I want to do that. And I absolutely love it. And it's interesting because we both get different things out of it, and both, I think, like it for different reasons.
Yeah.
So what do you like?
So, honestly, it's been a surprise. I went into it having no idea about what it was about, and I think a lot of people think, oh, kickboxing, well, that's just fighting, isn't it?
Hurting each other.
Yeah, it's just like, it's about physical, but actually what it is about, and obviously we're training, so we're learning, we're not actually sparring or anything yet, which I think we'll progress to, because it's quite fun to test your skills that you've learned, which I never thought I'd say either. Early on, I was just like, no, I just want to learn how to do it because it's interesting and I'm learning something new. And so to begin with, it was the excitement of learning something new, of challenging myself to learn something new. It took me out of my comfort zone. I was going into social situations, and for me, that can be challenging sometimes. So there was a whole challenge just around getting to class, being in social situations, and then learning something new. And now it's like almost like it's addictive, but because it helps me so much mentally. Like, it helps me mentally beyond what I could ever have imagined. And because I've been learning about my nervous system, it's realizing that when my nervous system is triggered, it can take me out of my body. So I get all mentally in my head and just in a big mess, because when I get in my head, like, everything gets all crossed over and it just becomes a very loud mess up there. But when you go to kickboxing class, you are working on refined movements physically in your body using coordination. And you cannot be in your head to do that.
Yep.
So I've turned up to class just not feeling it, not feeling good. And, we start with warm-up, cardio warm-ups. We're doing skipping and then lots of different challenges to just get yourself warmed up. And, I'm struggling with that. And then we get into doing the refined movements and learning something new and just getting myself. And by the end of the class, I'm just like, I feel so much better because I'm no longer in my head. I'm physically in my body because I had to be.
That's interesting because it sounds like what you're saying is that sometimes you end up going to class with the I can't. And somewhere in that, it turns into I can. And that, dopamine release, that feeling of accomplishment, that achieving something you didn't think you could achieve. And it's just a small thing of completing class.
Yeah.
But that mentally has a huge effect.
Yeah, and I'll come out of class exhausted, but physically exhausted because obviously it's hard work. But I think it's more that I've released a lot of stress and trouble and pain within myself because I've just had to come back to myself to do it.
Just let go of it.
Yeah, it is. It's just like, so it's a whole roller coaster of a class. And obviously, really physically and mentally, when I'm in the class, I'm not feeling all that, but it's happening because of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I spoke about it briefly. It's trauma informed. Our coach is actually a counsellor, social worker too, and is really good at teaching and helping you feel like it doesn't matter what you do. You're showing up, you're there, and just being part of it, and just really encouraging you no matter what mental state you're in. Yeah. So those that want to be pushed harder, she'll help you push harder. Those that just want some support and just manage to do something, she'll help you do that. She's really, really good at what she does. And I'm hoping to get her on the podcast because she'll have some really interesting conversation. But yeah, that's definitely a part of it.
It's interesting. So I definitely, and I think last Thursday.
Yeah.
It was one of the big ones where mentally I wasn't good going into it.
We both weren't.
We were both in kind of a funk, but the difference it made was phenomenal. And I'm forever grateful for that ability to change around that mental funk. Because it would be real easy. I mean, and I've been in mental funks before. I did kickboxing and I could change it around. It just takes a bit longer. But it's a really fun, easy way to do it. For me, I like the challenge. I like the pushing myself. I really like pushing myself. Which, well, you can read a whole lot into that. But that's what I love about it. I love the challenge. And I enjoy with Nicole, our coach, the little bit of banter we've got going backwards and forwards.
Camaraderie, isn't it?
Can you do this? And so there was can you do a handstand push-up? And I was like, I think so. I can't do a handstand, but against the wall, yeah, I'm pretty sure I could do. And I think I did 7. And I was like, there you go. But I like that. And some of the cardio and the fitness stuff, I like the pushing myself really hard. And then I like learning new things. Learning new things is like a drug. Like, I think you feel it, I feel it. I think everyone to a degree feels it. They just need to find a good way to learn. Because not everyone learns the same way, which is an important thing to be aware of.
Which Nicole is, that's
which
the great
Nicole
thing.
Is.
Yeah.
And from my side of things, I definitely could be more of the critical pushing because I am quite comfortable with that. But I love the relaxed feel of Nicole's classes that where you are is okay.
Yeah. And she just, it feels right.
Yeah.
And, it surprises me because we always have a laugh.
Yes,
like every week, fun. There's always a good vibe, a good feeling. And it makes me laugh because I had no idea where I was going or anything because my friend was taking me.
Yep.
And her tagline is connection martial arts. And, when I heard that, I was like, yes, that's conscientious. That is like, I know what that is.
Yeah.
It would just, when you laughed when you heard there was connection martial arts. It's like, no wonder you're going to that place, you know?
It's like one of those, great universe things that, of course, if you're going to martial arts, it's connection martial arts.
Yeah.
Of course, that's what you're going to. But it's great. There's something about physical exercise and the learning, but like you say, the connecting you into your body that really centers you.
Yeah.
You can see why Tai Chi and things like that, why people...
And they're a different pace, the Tai Chi.
They're a different pace, but it's the same idea.
Yeah, and when you're learning kickboxing, you're not doing things fast. Like, you're doing it slow.
Yeah, you're working up to doing it fast, but you are starting slow. But it's all that awareness of what are my feet doing, what are my hips doing, what's my shoulders doing, what's my arms doing, what's my head doing. You've got so much awareness of yourself.
Yeah.
It's very hard to worry about exterior problems.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't even care that you look silly. You're just gonna... Yeah,
there is a hurdle there.
Yes.
There's and Nicole's always very good at pointing it out that you look stupid when you do this thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And, even...
But it's just about doing it.
It's about doing it. But it's that, like, well, okay, you look stupid when you're doing it. When you can't manage to do this stupid thing, you look even more ridiculous doing it. But it's okay. It's fun.
And they bring that funness in. I spoke about it in the last podcast. So Thursday we were in a big funk, and I was really struggling mentally, like really struggling. But I nailed something I've been able to do for months, which is coordinating my arms and legs for a roundhouse kick. But the funniest thing is the arms part of it. You do your Dracula cape with one arm, and then you answer the phone with the other hand, and it's like you've got all these funny little visions of what you're doing with your arms, So it's just bringing that sense of fun into something you're learning, so you can visualize how you're being with it.
Yeah.
But it surprised me how I managed to coordinate my body when I was in a mental mess,
Yes. Yeah.
But interestingly, maybe it just, like, being in a mental mess got me out of overthinking it.
Yes.
And that's why I nailed it.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's the sort of the physical challenge as well as the mental challenge for the coordination, that there's just not enough processing power up there to keep working on the thing that's got you in a funk. And so, okay, well, we'll get rid of that. Yeah.
Well, it does. Like I said, it takes you into your body. And like I said, nervous system, quite often when you're triggered, it takes you out and disconnects you from your body, because it's that survival thing. You're either fight, flight, or freeze. And none of those things, you're meant to feel your body, because it's about getting you safe.
Yeah.
And so to regulate your nervous system, get back into feeling like you again, you need to get back into your physical body.
And it's interesting because I remember something at high school. There were people in doing a talk, and they were talking about how you deal with your emotions or something like that. And we're talking about anger was one of the ones we were talking about. And I remember growing up that when I was angry, frustrated, struggling with things, I needed something physical. And physical exercise could change that for me, could change my state of mind. Occasionally it would end up with the physically wanting to break something, but it's again still that physical...
It's almost like a physical release when you want to break something.
Yeah, it's like you're releasing the emotion in this. And I think that's where the kickboxing and the pushing myself comes from, is that I find it a helpful way of releasing things is doing something physical.
And it's interesting because... we're talking about challenges with your mindset and things, is we do 3 2-minute rounds of skipping. And that may sound easy unless you're a fitness buff. Oh my God.
Yeah.
2 minutes of skipping at once is hard. 3 2-minute rounds with a minute in between for stretching is like at the beginning of your time at the class.
Yeah.
Woo!
And it's interesting because, like I said, I don't think I've skipped since I was a small child. I don't think I really even skipped when I was a small child.
But also I was realising you skipped way different. Like you did, like the whole skipping is you barely move your arms and, you don't hop off the ground much. Whereas a kid, you're so loose.
Yeah.
You do like a way more, I'm doing the arm movements, this is hilarious. You do way more arm movements, you jump really high and stuff, whereas this it's more about speed. And then
spring in your step.
And then the great thing is you learn coordinating things within skipping as well. So you're like hopping on one foot for 2 of the skips, and then the other foot 2 skips, and then you're putting 1 foot down, and then you're doing, so there's a whole load of techniques we're learning with the skipping. But it's amazing if I'm like, I just can't do skipping tonight, or I can see my mental state, because I've gone from someone who could just skip for the 2 minutes and not knock myself in the foot, or apparently the back of the neck with the thing, or randomly whatever with the skipping rope. I can do 2 skips and then I'm out. And it kind of, it's really just shows you where you're at, and it's just like, okay, well, that's where I'm at. Well, we'll just keep trying, But sometimes if I go, hey, just breathe, and because it's like, sometimes that's not working because I'm still in my head. The class hasn't settled into bringing me back, and then I'm able to. So I notice now I'm able to change my mental state earlier in the class, and actually intentionally to get myself into. And so that means that I should be able to bring that into my life in general, because I'm learning how to change that
your mental state. So that's an interesting one. That you are learning a skill of how to deal with your emotions and your mental state. It's interesting because one of the things I find kind of funny with kickboxing, and you experience it as well as I do, is sometimes you get stuck in the thinking. Mm-hmm. So it works with all the moves and things, but for me at the moment with skipping, I'm not a good skipper, but one of the ones we do is you stand sort of in your stance almost. So you've got 1 foot forward, 1 foot back, and each skip you switch which foot's forward and which foot's back. So which is a real easy movement to do, and just every time you jump up, you change which foot's forward. If I don't think at all, I can do it. Then I'm like, okay, I'm doing it. Oh, now pay attention. Oh, no, I can't do it again. And like the thinking causes me not to be able to do it. And I know you've experienced it a few times as well before. That's just weird. Yeah,
I think because we were talking about it in the previous one as well. If I overthink what I'm trying to do, so I'm like, okay, I need to step, I need to do that, I need to do this, I need to do that to get this punch to work.
Yeah.
I sometimes get so stuck in trying to figure out what I need to do in my head that I can't physically move.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I suppose it's somewhere between your conscious and subconscious handing over control of things from one to the other. And I mean, I made a joke about it one week because it's all barefoot stuff. So when you're skipping, and I've never had the rope hit me in the back of the head or the neck or anything like that.
I have randomly.
It's always my toes. In fact, it's always like my index toe. What do you call the toe next to your big toe? No, not my big toe, the one next to it.
I have no idea. Your second toe?
Sure, that one. It's always that toe that gets it. And I've got quite a heavy rope. And it hurts like hell every time and I made the joke that, well, you know what? My body should work out. Don't let that rope hit your toe. And it should just take care of that problem for me. And somewhere in it is trying to, but then I think about it and get in the way and mess it up and hurt my toe.
That's it. It's funny how you can make yourself hit your toe by thinking about it.
Yeah.
But it's almost like creating your own, don't hit my toe. And then you do, because you're focusing on the negative of don't hit my toe.
Yeah. It is. It's interesting.
Well, it was even like, do you remember when we were learning some of the new moves of the skipping, and Nicole was giving me instructions on how to do one of them?
Yeah.
And it would take smaller steps, and it's just like, we realised I was kind of doing the opposite of what she was saying sometimes. So she said, right, take bigger steps. And literally it was like that. I took smaller steps. And it was something like it took me out of the funk of my mind.
Yeah, you weren't overthinking what you were doing. You were just doing it. Then.
Yeah.
Because you were, instead of, I assume you didn't actually try to take bigger steps.
No.
But you were sort of laughing in your head and joking about the idea of doing the opposite of her. And then...
Yeah, because it was twice, I think.
Yeah,
if she said the opposite, I managed to do it. But that must be to do with switching it out of thinking so hard about it. It's like, okay, it's either this or this, which is going to work, and my body goes, oh well, it's clearly going to be this, let's just do that, instead of it must be this, we must do that, oh I can't do it,
yeah
I don't know, but
it's interesting.
It's a real voyage of discovery, the kickboxing,
and self-discovery,
and it is, and you learn your own capacity in learning,
which I think again is part of being authentic, is you are aware of where you are at.
Yeah. And that's like each class is different.
Yeah.
Like I will come into each class in a different mental state.
Yeah.
But I always finish class in a good mental state.
Yeah. Always.
And you'd never imagine that, because sometimes, class is quite late for us, as in it starts at 8:00 at night. And we're half an hour away from it. So, when we get back, it's after 9:30. And then by the time we've
let the dogs out and
had showers, all that, it's sort of getting later and later. And we like to go to bed quite early because you're up early for work. So sometimes, you get into, okay, it's 7:00, got to leave in 15-20 minutes or whatever. I can't be bothered. Yeah. But we always go because you can't let that can't be bothered stop you. But you really don't, we're just dragging our feet. You can get in the class. And
it's one of those things. It's like if there was a good excuse not to go, it would be like you'd be all over it. Oh well, I would have gone, but
instead we go there, and then we always feel great after.
Phenomenal afterwards.
Yeah,
and it really does help. And I'm sure it's part of what Nicole's done with the class, and this is much more your side of things, but the energy she puts out with the class. The group of people in the class fit. Mm-hmm. And you can imagine that most of us don't fit.
Yes. It's definitely, we were talking about that. I think there was another coach, she's got another coach that's just finished her training. And we were talking about how it just seems to be the awkward people in life, where there's a lot of sort of what you quotation nerds. There's a lot of talk about Dungeons and Dragon games. It's like it's all the people who have always felt kind of awkward and don't fit in come to the class, and we all fit in so well together because we're all awkward people who have struggled to fit in. We were saying every class is always people you can talk with. You don't know these people, but you talk with them and you chat with them, you have interesting conversations, and it's like you can have nothing in common, but we just are able to talk.
Yeah, the community that she is building around it is fantastic. And there's something, because I'm one of those people that, if I lived out in the middle of nowhere and didn't really see anyone ever, I think I'd be quite happy with that. But there's definitely something genetic built into us to be community. Like we are community animals. We are not solo animals. Yeah. And I think the finding that community and being part of a growing community like that is such a nice thing. And because of the way she's doing it, it's all set on accepting and welcoming and kindness. There's no judging, and it's just perfect.
And you see new people coming in to join to try it out.
Yeah.
And then you see them join.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I've seen many people come to one class and go, oh, it's not for me. Yeah. And if they have, well, fine, they know. Yeah, that's the great thing about a trial class. But we had someone join, she tried a class, and then the next class, she brought her husband.
Yeah.
And it's like, she's obviously gone, this is great, come join, you know? And it's just, that's brilliant.
It is, it's amazing what she's doing with it. And like you say, the difference that it makes to you mentally. Yeah.
I'm quite a social person, and certainly with the right people, I would say. So, I find social things can be draining, but also social things can liven me up, light me up, and I feel good about it. And moving to a new country, trying to make friends, and obviously I'm not the social norm of what society believes, so I don't have kids, so I don't have that connection with all the moms and things like that. Yeah. So there's it's always been one of the challenges is finding my way into speaking with other people, and I only see them at class, but it's a really nice, I enjoy it. That's my social interaction. Twice a week I see different people at class, and Nicole's great. I enjoy chatting with her too. So it's good.
It is really good. And the social side of it is an interesting one, Because that's, again,
you don't think about it like that.
all these sides of it we've never talked about the actual doing the kick, it's all this extra stuff that comes into it.
That makes it what it is. It makes it what it is. Because I like the kickboxing is so good because it's not about fighting. It's about your body. It's about control. It's about understanding your limitations and where you're at. It's about learning something new and coordinating yourself, and then learning to read other people on what they're doing.
Yeah.
And, there's a whole dynamic within it that without even sparring, without even taking it to the full fighting stage of kickboxing, you're learning so much.
Yeah. It really is. And I think it's a great... I don't know, there's something about the physical, the mental, the like perfect storm of all these aspects.
Good combination. And then you're pushing yourself with the cardio, you're so it's like, I'm fitter than I've been in a long time. I'm much stronger. And we know that from, we've just been changing our setup for our camping on the truck. So we've been taking the rooftop tent off, which is 80 kilos, and putting it back on by hand. And then we had our whole canopy. We were doing that too. There's all these things we've been lifting and things. It's like, if I hadn't been doing kickboxing class, I'd have been, I can barely lift. Obviously, when I was farm working, I had that strength. But since I've not done as
different.
much. But it's like I have overall body strength. Everything is stronger. And my mental state.
There's I think there's a confidence that comes with fitness and martial arts and testing your ability and knowing your ability. And
knowing how to handle yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good way of putting it. Like, it's teaching me how to handle myself.
Yeah.
And I feel less fearless, more confident in the world because I know how to handle myself. And I don't mean like I know how to take a fight. Like, I still wouldn't know how to take a fight and do a fight, but I just feel like I know how to handle myself in a situation. It's like my ability to control my emotions, to regulate my nervous system, to be mentally in a place where I can look after myself and then physically do what I need to do.
Yeah.
It's like I'm creating a better all-round person of me.
Yeah. I think
just from kickboxing class twice a week. Who would have known?
Yeah. It's amazing the difference it makes.
And I think that's why it keeps creeping into a lot of the podcasts, is because for us, it's changing how we are and who we are in a better way. It's
definitely
making us a better all-rounded person because of what we're doing.
It's an interesting one because had you seen it's old-fashioned, had you seen on the paper, in the newspaper, kickboxing class, blah, 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 blah.
Advertised,
Advertised, an advert for it. Come along for a free trial, whatever. You wouldn't even have finished reading the advert.
No. It just so isn't me. And I felt that from my family. Like, you're going, really?
Yeah. Every time it's mentioned, they're like, this seems strange.
But I think it's that thing is like, they don't really know what kickboxing is, and I didn't.
Yeah.
And now I've been to the classes. I actually don't know a lot about kickboxing, but I know a lot about what training kickboxing feels like and is.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, you watch fight videos and you're enjoying like the deeper learning within what you're doing, whereas I'm still just enjoying the effect of the class does for me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. I enjoy and like I say, I definitely want to fight, but I do enjoy that. I see the side of it that is completely removed from ever hitting someone, and it's just so beneficial.
Mm.
And like you say, we're not spring chickens anymore, but the fitness and you see all around the world, you see people in their 60s and 70s being fitter than a lot of young people. But we're maintaining our fitness, we're pushing ourselves, we're stretching, your mobility, everything is just improving.
And it's great because it's not necessarily self-motivating. So it's like, I could be running a lot in the summer. Obviously, the winter we have snow, it kind of changes the way things are here. But in the summer, like, I could be running and walking further and doing a lot more activities to keep me fit. You do it just through your work.
Yeah.
But I don't do as much of that physical work anymore. So has changed my fitness, and
Yeah.
I'm actually looking forward to the cold, snowy winter and still be going to classes in the evening and keeping that fitness going.
So here's an interesting one, and I think about this a lot. Why does going to class make the difference?
I think it's a commitment. You've set that goal.
You've set that goal, you've made that commitment.
Yeah.
But, I kind of said, half jokingly, we're going to go on holiday for a couple of weeks. We should dedicate even just our 2 kickboxing days a week to doing a bit of physical cardio, something, bit of shadow boxing, a bit of whatever, just to keep that going. Why does that seem harder than going to the class and then pushing?
I don't know. But it does. It's that self-motivating. It's to do
It's
with
the
yourself.
Yeah, there's something about turning up to a class. Because I found it interesting. I remember I really like calisthenics. Calisthenics, however you say it, calisthenics. The moves, the using your body weight for exercise, the control, and it looks cool. Like, there's a definite part of that. So there's a move, an L-sit, which is like just sitting on the floor, legs straight, back 90 degrees, sit like you're sitting up on the floor, and you put your hands down either side and you just lift yourself up in that L position.
Yeah, legs off the ground too.
Legs off the ground, bum off the ground. Sounds quite simple. Try it. It's not. And I wanted to be able to do that. And this
Years ago, wasn't it?
before we came to Canada, I was like, I'm going to build up to be able to do this calisthenics stuff. And I was doing push-ups, I was doing this, I was doing that. I never got there. And I was okay with that. But I never pushed myself that hard. And it was just randomly at one class, before the class started, we were sort of stretching and everything like that. And I was sitting and I put my hands on the floor and I just lifted myself up. And I was like, oh, I can do that now. And for me, that was a big surprise. And I don't know what muscles it was that I'd been working on, but I'd been working on something muscles and all of a sudden I could do it. And that excites me and it makes me want to push harder. And, the bit of banter with Nicole, like that, oh, look, I've been doing crow. I've been twisted crow. Can you do a handstand push up? Or can you do this? I like that. And I like that pushing myself. Outside of class, I think to myself, and I did go through a point where I was doing well. Every morning when I got up to make a cup of tea in the morning, I would do some yoga or a workout or something just in the morning, just to get myself going for the day. Now, I could easily be doing something again. I've got out of the habit of doing it. But it's so much harder to get started on that than it is to go to a class for an hour and push myself.
Yeah, it's like you're kind of forced with the class, but if you've got to self-motivate, it's just like, and it is self-motivation. Sometimes it just seems to take something to make you want to do it. Like it gets to the point where you're like, I'm going to do this now. I'm done with resisting doing this. I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
And then you start doing it, and if something happens or you get out of it quite quickly, you're back to square one. You don't self-motivate again.
It's like turning it into a habit.
Yeah. And it takes, 60 days or something like that to create a new wiring in your brain of the habit. And then it takes another so many to make it like fully there. I can't remember what the exact
I can't remember what it is either, but it's interesting, the ability, and I feel a strong drive to go to class and to do things at class.
Yeah, I'm kind of sad because we're going on holiday.
I know, I'm sad.
We're going to miss 4 classes, and I'm disappointed that we're going to miss 4 classes. But I'm excited about our holiday.
I'm excited about our holiday.
I will soon catch up, but I don't like missing class. Like it's almost like addictive. It's almost like a.
Always. But I mean, there's that dopamine rush you get from physical exertion.
Well, like I said, every time I come out of class, I feel better. So it's going to feel weird not going, because like I know that always helps me twice a week. It's so that's why perhaps we should set ourselves the goals of when we're away on holiday doing
our class,
our own class.
Yeah, and we can easily do that.
Oh yeah.
But again, it's that motivation.
It's hard.
It's interesting.
That's like for anyone who's seen classes that they're interested in going to and then not motivated themselves to even go to the first class.
Yeah.
Like that's also, you know, something that you have to work towards. And certainly without my friend going, just come along and try it, I wouldn't have gone. You know, I wouldn't have, like you said, I wouldn't have seen that kickboxing advert and gone, oh yeah, let's give that a try.
Yeah.
But, you know, I went to one class and I thought, yeah, I kind of like it. I'll go to another class. And honestly, I was a bit sort of, I'm not sure about this to begin with. But as I got more and more into it, it's now just something that I feel like I don't want to do without.
Something you're passionate about, something that's important to
Yeah.
you. It's one of those things in your life that
Yeah.
is an important part.
It's one of those things that I know helps me, and therefore I want to keep doing it. I mean, and beyond that, I actually enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like, I enjoy it, and I am seeing so many benefits from doing it. And as an all-round thing, like we were talking about, you know, physically, socially, mentally, you know, there's so many reasons to be going to that class.
And you just bought your own boxing glove.
I finally, after starting in February, I've got my own boxing gloves in. So that's a big step, because for me, it's a further commitment.
Yeah.
I've spent money on, other than the classes, something for the classes. So it's a big step.
And it's a nice thing for us. And money's an interesting topic, and we should at some point talk about money, because we have loads of money.
More than we need, yeah.
We have enough money that we don't have to think about things.
And that's very fortuitous. And like, I'm forever grateful. But we've
that's a perspective thing.
We've also had points where we haven't.
We've had points in life where we're counting out
Yeah.
pocket change to buy a pint of milk.
Yeah.
But
Because even when we moved to Canada, because we sunk everything into getting the dogs were very expensive to get out here.
Yeah.
So when we first started out here, we had nothing.
we moved to Canada with a zero balance.
Yeah,
Once we
and
got our car.
we're very lucky that people helped us out as well with it.
Definitely.
Like, we're so grateful for that. But now, you know, because we spend money on different things, so we don't.
But we don't make a lot of money.
No.
But we have a lot of money. Like, we never have to think about money. And it's something in our mental thing. But the nice thing I like about kickboxing is
You don't need money for it.
you don't need money for it. But also, Nicole's very good at offering, trying to accommodate everyone and trying to help you with the cheapest option, if you have any money struggles and things like that. But for me, and I think it's something in later life I'm more aware about, is giving back.
Yeah.
And I really like the ability to buy things from her rather than from other places. I could probably get it cheaper somewhere else.
Yeah.
But I like to put money into that community.
Well, it's like we're missing 4 classes. I like that money is going into our classes anyway. Like,
Yes.
you pay it in advance.
Yeah.
And, you know, you miss a class. But, like, I like where that money is going because of what she's building.
It's that pay it forward.
Yeah, definitely.
It's the seeing the person at the side of the road stopping to help.
Yeah. Yeah, which we did as well.
We did. Yeah.
Oh my God. We were kind of running late. Now I was like, that guy stuck in the intersection there, so like immediately pulled over. I said, sorry, Alastair, we're stopping to help this person. Yeah.
And it's brilliant because another 3 people pulled over
and
to
like,
help.
we were talking about it. We stopped to help him, and then everyone started stopping to help.
Yeah.
So it's like, if we hadn't stopped, would other people have stopped? You know, it's interesting.
I like to think that they would have.
I would have hoped so, but yeah.
But yeah, I like that.
And I think as you get older, you have a greater appreciation to seeing those opportunities where you can help.
Yeah.
Because we've had so many people help us in different
People have been
ways.
so generous.
So
to us
generous.
all our lives.
Like, I always take every opportunity to pay it forward in any way I can.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So we kind of went off topic there, but it's still an important point to make. And
it is. Well, it's just it's
and
another thing I get out of kickboxing is the...
Yeah, when people build something important that's a value to the community and the people that show up there, and then, you see the people that show up there, and you know that they may be struggling with life, but Nicole's creating an opportunity where they can feel safe and enjoy what they're doing and feel better about themselves. And so, you just want to sink money into something like that. Yeah.
People feeling connected.
Yeah.
Like, one of the things that really drove me in mental health and like wanting to learn more and become better is not wanting to people to feel like they're alone.
Yeah.
Like, the idea of someone feeling like they're in a difficult place and they're alone and no one can help, really, that strikes me strongly.
Yeah.
And setting up a community that is there to help people and to include people who feel like they can't is a very worthy cause.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of what my podcast is about. Is I don't know who it reaches, but I want them to know that, everyone deals with the same sort of issues that they could be dealing with, or similar sort of, it's just like...
You're not alone in what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
Everyone goes through problems.
Yeah.
Everyone struggles with things.
And that's why I'm always sort of very raw and real in the podcast. It's like, I have my struggles in life and I share them because I know that other people do too. And sometimes there's that stigma of not sharing your struggles, your weaknesses, I'm using quotation points there, is that in sharing, it's allowing other people to see that they're not alone and they're not different, like everyone's having.
It's okay to struggle.
Yeah. So hopefully I'll get Nicole on the podcast shortly.
That'll be interesting.
I think that'll be really great. So, and yeah, that's kickboxing for us.
Go out and try new things.
Yeah. Please learn new things, try new things, because you can be hugely surprised like we were and feel such a benefit. And maybe you'll try something and that won't work, but don't let that put you off. Try something else. And yeah.
Like you, I want to try a pottery class at some point too.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Like creative with your hands. Yeah.
Very tactile.
Yeah. It's going to be messy. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we'll leave it there.